I wish I made this video sooner. But on the other hand, if I did make it sooner, I wouldn't have seen how badly the situation would have developed. All thanks to these protests, which we should honestly we should call them what they are now, riots. Originally, of course, they were meant to be peaceful, and I do sympathize with them on the issue with George Floyd. His life should have been taken like that, and of course, the police need reform. But they have since been hijacked by people like rioters and looters and Antifa. That now it's just basically causing more damage to everyone. It has, and with the development of just over the past week, it has since been becoming, in my own opinion, a full-blown inquisition, and I will get into that and why I think about that. But it's gone pretty worse with the establishment of the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Now, Capitol Hill is a residential area within the city of Seattle. In fact, I actually live about an hour away from the city. So even though I'm not within the city limits, it's still pretty concerning about the situation since it's pretty much that close, about an hour away from driving. Anyway, basically, the police are no longer in this autonomous zone, and they're leaving it under the control of the protesters, basically 6 blocks. This basically allows these protesters to do whatever the hell that they want, even going so far as to berate other people who may potentially not have the same opinions as others. In fact, I even have to... There's even a tweet here from Ian Miles John, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I hope I am, that says a Seattle local named Ross Simon established himself and his crew as the police of the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. He's a warlord and his crew is assaulting anyone who steps out of line. Unlike real police, there is no accountability or discipline, it's just violence. And he even linked a video within his tweet, and I will be posting that down in the description below if you guys want to check that out. They even went so far as to even established new demands, supposedly from the black community, but in all honesty, I'm pretty sure that this is something from Antifa, because this is something that Antifa would definitely love. One of their demands was basically the abolishment of the police and the courts, viewing them as racist and beyond reform. In fact, here is their specific demand when it comes to that. The Seattle Police Department and attached court system are beyond reform. We do not request reform. We demand abolition. We demand that the Seattle Council and the Mayor defund and abolish the Seattle Police Department and the attached criminal justice apparatus. This means 100% of funding, including existing pensions for Seattle Police. At an equal level priority, we also demand that the city disallow the operations of ICE in the city of Seattle. So, this is the same use saying that Antifa has been desperately wanting to establish, and now potentially that they're getting it. I mean, again, we're seeing this in Minneapolis with them actually deciding to abolish their own police department, and potentially for some other public safety center, which honestly, I really am beyond words for the stupidity about this. All these people want is basically power and radical change, in which they are themselves in control. And it's gone so far as to get into a few other things like statues, and even with Gone with the Wind, and even attacking small businesses and attacking individuals for that matter who criticize the movement. I wanted to talk about this yesterday, about statues of several Confederate leaders. In just the case of Virginia, Ralph Northam actually decided to take this opportunity to remove the statues of Robert E. Lee as well as Jeb Stewart, Jefferson Davis, and Stonewall Jackson, because of the reasons of racial inequality and because of this whole entire protest. Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure that there are some people who, within Virginia, actually hate this idea because it's just Ralph Northam decided to bend over to the protesters. Besides, I also kind of attacked him as well due to my fascination with history, as well as the issue: how the hell is removing a statue going to suddenly stop racism? It won't. It absolutely won't. It's just going to be removing a lot of these statues, and this is not the only case with Confederate statues. It's also with Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus statue was actually taken down and actually thrown into a lake, all because they simply saw people see him as a symbol of racial oppression. I wish. I mean, it even goes into with the whole armed forces, with the Navy and the Marines banning the Confederate flag because, again, of the whole issue with racial inequality and the whole protests. Which, again, I see no reason. I see no reason how this could help at all. I really do not. Plus, even Ryan McCarthy, the Secretary of the Army, even went so far as to actually consider renaming several bases which were named after Confederate leaders. Although that idea was eventually scrapped, thankfully, because President Donald Trump actually didn't like the idea of renaming these. And honestly, I do not either. All it seems more is just appeasement to the mob and an entire Inquisition. And that's just only the surface. And there's so much more to this. HBO has decided to ban Gone with the Wind because of its supposed depiction of black people. Despite the fact that its setting of Gone with the Wind is taking place during the American Civil War. And you know what's funny about with HBO deciding to ban Gone with the Wind? Gone with the Wind, one of their actresses won an Oscar for her own role. And here's another thing. That actress was black. She was the first black actress to get an Oscar. And her name, I have it right here on Wikipedia, was Hattie McDaniel. She won the Academy Award. Oh, sorry, the Academy Award. Oh, yeah, it's both Oscar and the Academy Award. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. And now, apparently, this is somehow the whole entire movie, despite the fact that it's a national treasure, despite the fact that it's in the Registry of Congress, or the Library of Congress, and despite the fact that it's had the first black lady won an Oscar, it's somehow offensive. And now they're just taking it out because of all this. And I don't need to get into the issue with small businesses being looted and raided. Many of these businesses happen to be owned by minorities, and people are just pissed about this. You can look at many videos just to show this. So many videos of people, blacks, Asians, everyone, who had to deal with the fact that many of their own businesses were raided and looted, thanks to these riots. And it gets even worse with a lot of people being basically canceled and fired for criticizing this movement. I was actually looking at Tim Pool, and I forgot the name of the lady, but basically, she had some criticisms of the current movement. While she was affiliated, she definitely was not a fan of the whole rioting and the craziness that's been going on. But apparently, people didn't like that, and it has led to her deciding to eventually get fired. I will link Tim Pool's video talking about that specific situation down in the description as well. So, yeah, there's so much craziness that has happened. It's gone full Inquisition. You now after detailing the situation that's been laid out, and especially with my evidence and my sources down in the description. Again, it just shows the craziness of this. This is not really about George Floyd. This is about trying to have control. This isn't about racial equality. This is about preferential treatment. This isn't about having a fair and just system. This is about establishing their own idea of justice. Something that I'm pretty sure Antifa and major parts of the BLM are in favor of. Something that I'm not. Removing the police, banning a lot of these movies because of being so supposedly offensive, or people being criticizing the movement only to eventually be canceled or fired. I do not like this one bit, and you shouldn't as well. These people should be called out on for not only their stupidity, but for their crazy tactics as well, their crazy ideas and goals. These people should be met with resistance, and when I mean resistance by calling them out on their BS. They should be called out on their BS. People should stand up to these people. Because if they don't, it's going to get worse. It'll just be total appeasement. And from what I understand, and from what I've seen in history, appeasement does not work out well. They will want more. There is a reason why there's a saying. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And I hope you guys stand with me, not giving them an inch and and making sure that they not take a mile as a result. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, how I frame my video, or any improvements I should make, or any subjects you want me to talk about, please post them down in the comment section down below, or directly message me if you guys want. Thank you.